What makes Breaking Bad stand out isn't just the characters or the story, though absolutely those. It's the way it yanks you by the collar and refuses to let go. When you see this old-ass man in a crappy RV and his tidy whities with dead bodies sloshing around the back and some random dude just sitting in the passenger seat, it's such a weird and exciting piece of whiplash where you have absolutely no idea what's going on and how fucking drugged up the writers were while writing it. The opening scene is just a masterclass in tension building. We see a man in a desperate situation and immediately questions start to flood. Who is this guy? Why is he in this mess? Wait, we don't know him yet. This kind of storytelling hooks the audience on an instinctual level. It's just primal curiosity mixed with an emotional jolt. You don't just want to know what happens next, your climax depends on it. From there, Breaking Bad maintains that grip by layering complex characters who are all flawed, relatable, and terrifying all at once. Walter White's transformation from meek chemistry teacher to batshit crazy drug kingpin isn't just shocking, it's painful. The show respects its audience intelligence, delivering plot twists and moral dilemmas that keep you thinking long after the episode ends. It's this rare combination of emotional investment and relentless suspense that set the gold standard. Simply put, if you want to learn how to hook an audience and keep them hooked, Breaking Bad is the textbook example. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Going back to the opening scene, we immediately get something raw and incredibly real. Walt busts out of the RV, panting and in extreme distress. We suddenly start hearing police sirens wailing in the distance, and Walt pulls out a camcorder.
My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 308 Negra Arroyo Lane, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87104. To all law enforcement entities, this is not an admission of guilt. I am speaking to my family now.
The emotion becomes too much and he hides himself by putting a hand to the camera, blocking his family from seeing him. But we get to see just how scared and vulnerable this man is. Like Bryan Cranston himself said,
you have the audacity to display those human, honest emotions. People embrace someone who is in trouble, someone who is vulnerable, someone who is frightened. They have a tendency to come forward and put their emotional arms around you.
And that's exactly what I did. Even though I wasn't a middle-aged man who just committed a crime, I connected with him on a very deep and personal level. I put my arms around Walt. And while we all haven't committed fucking crimes, we have been in a situation that pushed us to the brink, and a situation that had us extremely vulnerable. This opening scene was just a taste of the absolutely god-tier acting you'll see from Bryan, by the way. He manages to completely make us sympathize with him and genuinely care about him. He's disrespected at school, emasculated by his brother-in-law, Hank.
Ooh. No, it's just heavy.
That's why they hire men.
And feels he let his entire life pass him by out of fear of making the wrong decision. He embodies the most human qualities we all share. Fear of decision, of failure, of being forgotten. And in one of the most pivotal episodes of the first season, episode 4, Cancer Man, we get this beautifully acted, heartbreakingly quiet scene where Skyler, Hank, Jr., and Marie debate over what Walt is to do with his life. And in one short monologue, we get the clearest image possible.
My entire life, it just seems I never, had a real say about any of it. This last one, cancer. All I have left is how I choose to approach this. I want to live in my own house. I want to sleep in my own bed. I don't want to choke down 30 or 40 pills every single day and lose my hair and lie around too tired to get up. Me, some dead man, some artificially alive, just marking time? No. And that's how you would remember me. That's the worst part.
Walt is a man who needs to be remembered. He needs to go out grasping some control and not going out as some dead man. And as we go through the story, we'll see this need for glory and recognition build into something more than the audience can forgive. Still, we care. Going forward, Breaking Bad does something absolutely brilliant. It doesn't just show us Walt's actions, but makes us understand them, which is what makes our relationship to him so interesting. It puts up a mirror to us. See, Walt doesn't just wake up one morning and decide he's going to become a fucking meth kingpin. He takes one step, then another, then another. Each step feels reasonable. The excuse he uses every episode is that he's providing for his family, an excuse we believe up to a point until we begin to see in season 5 especially that this is a reason he tells others around him, but just as much a reason to convince himself of his own nobility. And if we're honest, we all do this too. We all have moments where we make a decision that's a little selfish and then dress it up as something righteous. We say it's for them. We tell ourselves it's necessary. We convince ourselves we're still good people, and most of the time we are. But Breaking Bad forces us to admit something that's uncomfortable. It forces us to realize just how thin that line is. The gap between I'm doing this for my family and I'm doing this for me. And here's where Walt becomes one of the most human characters ever put on TV. He's proud, stubborn, and he wants to be remembered. He doesn't want to fade into nothingness. And tell me, don't we all feel that? Even when Walt goes too far, we can catch glimpses of someone who loves deeply. He loves his son, his daughter. He even loves Jesse in a toxic father-son way. For every ruthless Heisenberg moment, there's a flicker of kindness that refuses to die. And that is what makes him so terrifying as a villain, but what also makes him so real. Walt's humanity never completely disappeared. It just got buried under decades of suppressed ego and pride, both of which we all carry around, whether we want to admit to or not. And that's why his story hits so hard. It's not just a warning about one man's descent. It's a mirror showing us what happens when we let those impulses go unchecked. By the later seasons, Walt isn't just making meth, he is the meth empire. The man who once cowered in his tidy whities in the desert is now standing in front of hardened criminals, demanding, "Say my name." And they do.
Heisenberg. You're goddamn right.
Heisenberg isn't just a persona at this point. He's Walt's truest self, confident, commanding, and untouchable. But what's chilling isn't just the power, it's how we can see just how far he's fallen. We still see the fear of being forgotten. We see the starved pride finally feasting. We see the man desperate for recognition. This is where pride fully consumes him. It costs him his marriage, his brother-in-law, and his kids. It costs him everything he once claimed he was fighting for. And in his most honest moment, Walt finally admits to Skyler and finally admits to himself,
I did it for me. I liked it. I was good at it. And I was really
was alive.
This line hits harder than any gunfight or explosion because it's Walt finally telling the simple truth that his story was never just about survival, it was about ego. And ego, when fed, doesn't stop. It devours. So why does this show resonate so deeply even years later? Because at its core, Breaking Bad isn't about crime or meth or empire. It's about the human condition. It's about us. Walter White's pride, his fear of being forgotten, his hunger to prove himself, those are universal. We all feel them, even if we never cross a line like Walt, or the many lines he crosses. We know what it's like to want to break free of the moral chains that's left us in the dirt, to be remembered, to go down in the pages of history. Walt's compassion is just as real. His love for his family, his undying care for Jesse, they remind us that we are all capable of kindness, even at our worst. That's what makes Breaking Bad more than a story of a man turning evil. It's a story of what it means to be human. His tragedy isn't that he became a villain, it's that he failed to knock himself out of a mindset we all have had: self-hatred. He, just like all of us at one point, lived with a self-critical mindset lacking in confidence. So while others might see you as a wonderful person, to you, only the blemishes stand out, and it's only natural to want to hide those at all costs. To Walt, weakness was a blemish, so he hides it, despite the fact that what he sees as weakness, others may see it like endearing vulnerability. And this combines with the compensatory way he approaches his life after the diagnosis, the freedom and ambition, the power he feels, the ego he always had and only now begins to feed. And they all make it so that he always wants to appear in control and never weak, so that he won't be remembered that way. And yet, his way of thinking is incredibly whack. This is the fumble in his mind's programming, making him want to leave a version of himself and his family's lives totally opposite to what made them love him in the first place. If the lovable, sweet, vulnerable man was the only thing his family would remember, they would be okay with that. Many of them would love that. But that is the one thing the true Walter White cannot stand. As someone who spends his whole life feeling out of control, he harbors a deep, deep resentment and need to overcompensate and put an image of a stone-cold, powerful man in the memories of his loved ones. And while the end result was a fucking disaster for everyone involved, in a tragically hilarious way, he got exactly what he wanted: to be remembered for his strength and power. That image was, ironically, the polar opposite to what would have been wanted from his loved ones. And from then on, when people think of Walter White, Heisenberg will forever come first. Finally, I want to close up shop by making it just a bit clear for you underlings to understand just how much I adore Breaking Bad. It was genuinely a transformative experience for me, lighting the spark in my heart to write my own masterpieces. And even more so for its prequel series, Better Call Saul. That show was seriously so much better than Breaking Bad, a show I wholeheartedly believed couldn't be topped. I'm still absolutely obsessed with these shows, and with their characters, writing, storytelling, and cinematography, and the straight-up bottomless well of extremely small details that all culminated in some of the most well-executed and beautifully written series of all time. Side note, if you do want to check out the result of my love for writing, and these shows especially, please check out my book, Pulse. It's a cosmic horror sci-fi that'll leave you on the edge of your seats until the